Okay, let's get started today. Um, Easter weekend, beautiful day here in Colorado. Nothing's turned green yet, but we're getting there. So I couldn't think of a better weekend than to do this episode on Easter weekend. And this episode is about, you remember back in the other episodes, chapter 2, episode 1, where I was in kind of a bad way, and I wasn't a bad way. And I gave my life to Christ in that episode, chapter 2, episode 1. And remember after that, sometime after that, he wanted Dana and I to get back together and do it his way. And I didn't have any idea what that meant. And so this episode is all about how he and what he taught me about love. Because obviously I didn't know what that meant, or I didn't have any good examples of it. I just I didn't understand it really. So I knew about that time that I was thinking about how do I prepare myself for this adventure with trying it out with Dana again and listening to the Lord. And I had gone to the gym and gotten real strong and stuff, and I started realizing pretty soon that it wasn't that I lacked strength to get this done. I was stalled because I lacked connection. Does that make sense? All my connections were kaput, and I was emotionally shut down. Um, my anger and control was abundant. I felt isolated, right? And my work ethic was work first, family last kind of thing. That was my that's where my priorities were. I had a ton of relationship damage around me, and I was feeling pretty numb and pretty lost. But that's just kind of a recap of what I talked about earlier. I wanted to tell you the story that I heard. Somebody told me, this gal told me at work, and it hit me pretty hard that I think this is what I had been doing. You might see me look down because I took notes on a lot of this stuff, because it's so important that I get this right, this episode right. Not that I didn't get the other episodes right, but this one's pretty important. I think it's the most important one of the bunch. So this gal had to have surgery, and she went into the hospital and had surgery, and her boyfriend was at home, and she had always wanted a fish tank in the house, and he took it upon himself to build this fish tank at the house while she was at the hospital. His thinking was, hey, she's going to love it when she gets back out of the hospital and has this beautiful fish tank in the house. And he built the whole thing and spent a lot of time on it, and really was thinking of her the whole time he was building it. And it was pretty amazing. And meanwhile, there were some complications at the hospital, and she was going to have to stay a little longer. And he was thinking that, hey, that's good timing. I need a little bit more time. So she finally gets out of the hospital, and he goes and picks her up and takes her to the house. And And she sees that beautiful fish tank, and she asked him to leave. He was crushed. Didn't know why. Well, I didn't know why either until I started learning what love is and what it isn't. Okay, so one of the things I did was look up in the Bible on the different types of love. One's agape. It's a sacrificial and chosen, exemplified by Christ's sacrifice. So that's really what we're experiencing this weekend, is the ultimate in love, right? The Father gave His Son for us and for our sins. That's agape love. That's the basis of it. I mean, that is the nucleus of the love. Then the next one is, so that's like divine love, right? Divine, amazing love. The next one is philia. And this is a friendship love. It's a deep brotherly love between friends. And next one is storge, which is a family type love, which between a parent and a child, or maybe siblings. So the next one is eros. It's a romantic, passionate love between husband and wife. And that's one that all of us guys strive to get. So the first thing I learned was there was a difference in love. How we display it, how to display it, and what's inside of us, and how do we get those feelings out, right? All right. So what happened after that was the Lord started showing me different books to read. And the books were so impactful to me. It was a whole new concept for me, because I had failed at this before. I wanted to do something different. I wanted a new direction, because it didn't work. Dana and I split up, and I just didn't want to repeat the mistakes I made. And I didn't know what the mistakes were, so I had to do some research. And this research that I did was very instrumental for me on how to show my love appropriately. Now, I didn't know what that meant before in my relationship with my wife. I didn't really know. I wasn't taught. I thought if you just took care of her and fed her and didn't abuse her, and I thought that was love, right? It's okay if you want a pet. It's not okay if you want a wife, right? So here we go. The first book I read was, and I'll put it in the description so you can go buy a copy of it. Pretty amazing book. The first book was called Love is a Decision, The Foundation by Gary Smalley. It kind of removed the confusion for me on love is not mood-based, not personality-based. You know how people say, I just fell in love with her just like that. Well, love is not dependent on your partner's behavior. In that book, it describes what us men do wrong, and we typically wait to feel it instead of choosing it. That's kind of a big pill for me to swallow. Really? You can decide to love somebody? I thought it was just something that was a feeling that you fell into and you just went with it. Well, the problem with that is you can fall out of it just as easy as you fell into it. And for all you guys on motorcycles out there, you know what I mean by counter steering. You go into a turn, you use your weight, it ain't gonna sharpen your love. So the motorcycle's love, and you're leaning into a turn, and you can get in trouble. What you need to know is counter steering. You put a certain amount of pressure on the handlebars, and you can laser your line going through the mountains. To me, that counter steering is true love, and using your weight is like a feeling of love. See the difference there? I'm trying to generate a word picture with you guys to know the difference between those two. So once I started understanding that love was a decision, and the book is amazing, it really helped me with, because it was a decision that Dana and I got back together, and it was a decision, how are we going to make a go of it the way he wanted us to do it. All right, so and the other word picture I had about that was, you guys out there that are archers, you know, you're pulling back a bow and you release the arrow and you miss the target. Okay, so you pull out another arrow, release it, you missed it by that much. Well, thinking love is a feeling is putting those arrows in there and sending it and missing your target. Archery term is sin. I find that very interesting, that when you send an arrow and you miss your target, it's a sin. There's some correlation there that we'll talk about a little later. All right, so the second book I read that was high impact stuff was Love Has a Language, and it was by Gary Chapman. And this book described me to a T. I was all messed up on this one. So there's basically 5 love languages that we all display. And the huge mistake that I made was I displayed my love for people around me the way I wanted to see it. Well, that's not their love language, that's my love language. And then when people used my love language on me, oh, it made so much sense. I really connected with that. So here's the deal. After reading that book, I learned that the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, right? Words. Is time spent, learning how to have time together, carefree, timelessness, this kind of thing. And the third one is acts of service. You know, when you do things for other people and it makes you feel good, or other people do things for you and it really makes you feel good, that's acts of service. So touch. With our partners, touching, I mean, not what you're thinking, but I'm talking to you guys. What it is it's touch to where, like holding hands and maybe rubbing her back or rubbing her shoulder, or touching her in different places that gently, that's somebody's, that could be your partner's love language. And the last one is gifts. So these are big categories, right? You can drill down into these categories, but giving people gifts, thinking about them and giving them a gift, that might be their love language. And if you've ever given a gift to somebody and they go, I can't use it, it's not their love language. That's all. So here's the thing. You need to study your partner's love languages. If you don't know what it is, ask them. I study my wife, and love languages change. As soon as you think you got it, it changes. So it's an active thing. As we get older, the love languages may change. Now, somebody may have all five of them, but there's a priority, typically, the top three or something. So, and then once you learn what they are, it's as simple as asking your partner, revealing these five categories, and asking your partner what theirs is. See if they respond in the way you think they're going to respond. By not saying anything to them, write down their five love languages or their love languages before you ask them, and see if you're right or if you're wrong. I was completely wrong. I didn't even know the first time I read this book. I'm like, geez, I wonder what Dana's is. Gosh, I don't think I know what that is. Let me guess. And I was wrong. So, remember what I told you about the bow and arrow? It's quite a lot of effort to pull back that 70-pound bow and let her rip. It's not the effort. It's in the accuracy. Once you find out what her love languages is, or are, if there's multiple ones, learn how to apply that. Even though it doesn't make sense to you, or even if that's something you don't want, do it for them. It goes with everybody in your relationship brings. It goes with everybody. Everybody has a love language of sorts, okay? We don't know what they are, but once you do hit it, you're going to see a difference. Once you start hitting that target with your bow, it's going to make a difference. It's pretty amazing. That's an amazing book. Okay, the next book that I read. Now, I'm talking about these books. I didn't read them all at once or anything. The Lord just kind of plopped them on me. And I'm going to say it was a 3-4 year burn on these books. I'm just sharing what happened and what made me understand love a little better. Okay. The third book I read was Keeping Your Love On by Danny. So that was really, really a good one too. And in the back of it, it has how you develop healthy boundaries in your relationships. Very, very good stuff. Very good. So us men sometimes they start off real strong in an issue with their partner, whoever, and when it gets really difficult, the issue, we tend to shut down, try to control things when things get really hard, and that's not the way to do it. It really isn't. Can't explode anymore, can't withdraw anymore. Got to stay right in it. And be present, be steady and responsible with your reactions. Mature men keep their love on even when it's hard. But that's kind of keeping your love on, teaches you how to do that in the book, even when it's not the popular thing and it's the most difficult thing. Kind of starts, you can feel it developing character in you, which is pretty cool. I really enjoyed that book, and it was a real good book on being steady and being consistent and learning how to apply your partner's love language to help them through something, and being even through the most turbulent times, choosing to keep your love on. So, gave you the why. Love is a decision. I gave you the how, 5 love languages, and I gave you the way, keeping your love on. So essentially, decide it, deliver it, don't turn it off. Boy, it's pretty easy to say, but it's pretty hard to do. These books are instrumental in helping me learn how to love my wife, love my kids, and even learning how to love people that I work with. It's just, it's the different types of love. And once you understand that and you start moving it, I'm not saying I'm great at this, but what I am saying is I know about it, which makes it, it's in the toolbox, right? So I can utilize it. So basically, love is discipline, self-discipline. Love is controlling yourself. Love is being responsible for the connection. So I wrote down some things here that make sense to me that are in the book. Like, most men don't fall in love because they don't care. They fail because they don't have a system. And I believe that. That's what the Lord's teaching me, is a system. And a system that works. He proved it this weekend. Agape, right? The display of love. His son on the cross for our sins. Man, incredible amount of love. So I want to see if I can get you to do something this week. I'm going to try something this, give you some homework. Try not to feel more loving. I want you to decide it, deliver it, don't turn it off. I want you to try and do that for me. I'm telling you guys, it will change your life. Learning this stuff. Go read those books. 1 Corinthians 16 says, 13 through 14, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. That's a great scripture. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that I'm trying to tell you this big, huge subject in less than 20 minutes. And I hope you've learned something. Oh, by the way, when you do apply this, your 5 love languages, you learn about it and apply it, do a check-in once a month or once every few weeks when you're trying it out new. Ask your partner, hey, have I been hitting your love language the way you need it to be hit? Don't worry about if your love language is being hit. Women seem like they already know what our love languages are, and they tend to hit it more often than we do. But serve their love language first. And then if they ask you what your love language is, know what they are. Don't guess. Don't say all 5. Because then we're doing the bow thing, right? Sending an arrow. She's going to miss. She's going to miss because you didn't give her the clear-cut instructions of where the targets are. So I hope this makes sense. Didn't to me. I thought I was doing a great job until my relationships fell apart. I was not doing well. And now I am doing well. Huge difference. Learn this. Learn it good. Put it in your toolboxes. Know it so well that you don't have to look at your notes to apply it. So, happy Easter. It's a beautiful day in Colorado. Love you guys. And I truly do. And now you know how. I do. I'll end it today. Have a good one. Happy Easter.